All politicians are corrupt for the most part.
No, they're not.
I mean, everything.
You just named some who aren't. You talked about the Squad. You talked about MW. Like,
yes.
there are tons of politicians who are not corrupt, who truly are public servants.
But no, I think when politicians get to that level of power, when you get to the level of the Bidens, when you get to the level of actually being in the White House and being part of administrations, I think it's very hard not to be corrupt.
But the Obamas were above reproach. You have to be as a black elected official. They were above reproach. What did they do that was corrupt?
That tan suit was so fucking wrong. It was the same color of your jacket right now.
Right now.
And that shit was horrible. That tan suit should have never happened.
Are you saying that my tan rain jacket trench coat thing is horrible?
No, it's not. I think about the Obamas often because I always say to myself, yo, Barack really must have been Jesus.
No, he wasn't Jesus. They thought he was the Antichrist, and I got another thing.
The only reason I say I think he might have been Jesus because he really had to be perfect for them not to have nothing on him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a life.
Well, he had to be
a life of perfection.
But isn't this crazy? Because now you have walked your ass right back to the point you were making before, which was you can't hold them to that standard.
Barack's the only one though.
But my point is
no. Barack really is the only one.
Maybe he is.
There's no other president that you can think of who didn't have some bullshit with them.
Because he's black. The point that I want white privilege.
But think about that. He's, according to this country, him being black, he definitely should have had some bullshit with him throughout his life.
Agreed. But we also know that because he was black, he couldn't. Period.
But just the fact not that he couldn't, he didn't.
No, I agree.
Because think about it, they would have been digging back elementary school, middle school, high school.
Thank God he wrote about doing cocaine in college because they would have dug that up.
Which to me, I've smoked cocaine in
a
blunt.
You did?
In a blunt, yeah. So I was with these dudes one night, and they had it rolled up. And now that I know what it actually smells like, in hindsight, I was like, oh, shit, we smoked a wooly that night.
Smell like?
Because I've been around people who smoking weed and coke before. Yeah. So when I smelt it later, I was like, oh, shit, we smoked woolers before. Great high,
What is it called?
We used to call it woolers back in the day.
Woolers?
Woolers.
Is that because you was like, like Luther Vandross?
I don't know why we used to call it
scary.
woolers. They call it boonk in Florida. In Florida, it's called boonk. But I definitely did it. Great high, by the way.
No.
If I was younger, I would do it again by accident.
This is not a cocaine promoting podcast. That's what we're not going to do, actually. Speaking of Jesus in the name of Jesus, we're not doing that today.
But, yes, I did. God. But I'm saying all that to say, that's regular American shit. That shouldn't disqualify you from being president.
No, okay, but my point is in his adult life, after he became a Harvard Law Review editor, the first black one at Harvard. I think he was the first black one at Harvard. Yes, he was. And then after he became an organizer in Chicago, he had to be flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless.
Yeah.
And it's just immaculate. So I don't know if he knew from way back then that he wanted to be president, but he had to be flawless. And he still lost races. He lost a congressional race to Bobby Rush, who was still the member of Congress, or one of the members of Congress representing Chicago.
It says a lot about President Barack Obama that he is a black man in America who's considered a leader, who was the first black president who they have nothing on. Because they don't let none of your leaders walk away clean. None of your black leaders.
No.
All your black leaders got some dirt on them. They got some bullshit with them. Every black leader, they attach something to them. Yeah. Whether it's Martin Luther King Jr. being an adulterer, whether it's Malcolm X, they couldn't really use his past against him because he owned a lot of it.
Yeah.
But then later on in life, they tried to say he was gay, little stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have nothing on Barack.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
He's the only one, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I can't think. You know who else I can think of? Desmond Tutu, but he not from here. You know who Desmond Tutu is?
I do know Desmond Tutu. I don't know much about Desmond
Tutu.
Nelson
Mandela.
I mean, Nelson was in jail for 27 years.
I know, but that's not because he did anything wrong.
I know it's not because he did anything wrong, but that's what they will say. If you don't know why Nelson Mandela went to jail, it's easy for somebody just to be like, he was in prison for 27 years. Like, what? You wouldn't even ask no questions he was in prison.
Who wouldn't? Yes, we would.
I mean, we would, but the average kid wouldn't ask no questions about why Nelson Mandela was in 27
You got to give these kids more credit than that.
And by the way, people would just assume, oh, he was in jail for 27 years, he did something wrong.
No, they would not. Who?
I think a lot of people are stupid.
It's not the people. No, well, maybe, but a lot of the people who interface with our criminal justice system know that in South Africa back then, that had to be jacked up.
If Donald Trump stood on stage right now and was like, they celebrated a ex-felon like Nelson Mandela, convict who's in jail for 27 years.
You know who should have been an ex-felon is Christopher Columbus. That's who should have been an ex-felon.
Oh, absolutely.